So please keep it simple. That's the only topic I have. That's my only slide. I'm joking. My name is Boris. I've been a dev for 5 years, 3 of them in game dev. I want to ask who here is a developer, software developer? About half. Who are you? Would you say you're a junior developer? So like 5 people. So this talk is for 5 people. Everybody else can leave. No, I'm joking. So for those that are still junior in their own eyes, keep it simple. That's the mantra. For everybody else, a small reminder. Who is not technical? So who's not a dev? So I got a bit for you as well at the end. Okay, for everybody, something. So yeah, please keep it simple or we'll all suffer the consequences. A little mantra for you to remember. So your brain power is your most valuable resource. All we can do all day is use your brains to do things. And we have about 3 to 4 hours of maximum capacity a day. So if you waste that, all of the rest of the day, you're working on non-maximum capacity. So if you keep things simple, you can actually be productive the rest of the day. If you have complex things to do, you can only spend 3 or 4 hours a day working. So focusing on keeping things simple makes it possible to work more relevant things. So code and complexity, this goes for anything, I guess. Simple scales to complex. And once you have complex, if you start with complex, you'll scale into the impossible. So how to keep it simple? If you only remember one thing from this talk, it's going to be the next sentence. It's all you need to remember. This one is just for the devs, sorry. Just if you're using your brain, you're doing it wrong. Don't use your brain. That's not what you want to do. And I'm serious here. If you're using your brain, you're probably reinventing something. If your brain is being switched on, you are doing something that somebody else probably has already done. So don't do it. And don't use your brain. Don't switch it on. Just spend the same energy you would looking for that solution that somebody else already provided. You do not have to challenge yourself. That's something that younger developers love to do, is they see things as a challenge. They want to prove themselves. They want to prove that they can do this complex thing. Well, if you're going to do this complex thing, now all of us will have this complex thing that we just created in our code base forever. And we'll have to maintain it. And we're probably better off not doing that. The grass is always greener on the third-party side. And here I'm not just talking about third-party, I'm talking about anything that somebody else created already, some solution that already exists. Anything like that will always be better than something that you will create, even though our egos might say, no, I can do it better. The problem is, whatever you create, it needs time to mature. What does maturity mean in code? It means, have I thought about all the edge cases? Have I tested everything, every side of it? Every time you make a change, you can break something. So anything you find online, any GitHub repo, anything that the engine might already provide, will be a solution that's far more mature, far more tested, far more have already considered all the edge cases than anything that you will be able to do in the time that you have. So you don't want to be the person that invents a thing. You want to use the solution that's been already provided. So now it's a bit of meme time. So what does the junior dev do? He writes 1,000 lines of code. Mid-level engineers, 2 lines, 2,000 lines. Okay. Senior engineer, 10,000 lines, very efficient. Lead engineer doesn't write the 10,000 lines of code, meaning it's more important what you don't write, so don't start, than writing a bunch of code that you have to maintain then afterwards. Keeping a strong fundament is the most important part of development. I think one sentence I like is development is basically a game of reducing complexity. And if you have stable building blocks, you can build upon them, but you can't build on something that is wobbling. So if you don't understand it, assume that it's wobbling. And if you have something complex that you actually need to achieve, you have to black box it, meaning wrap it around really beautifully so other people only have to interface with the simple part of it, which is the black box interface, or API we like to call. So now we're going also to the non-developer people. Something we all should consider is that not just my brain power, but my whole team's brain power is extremely valuable. So whatever I create, I better create in a way that I don't waste any brain power of other people. It's the dev's responsibility to be as clear as he can about what complexity already looks like in the project and how you can make sure it doesn't grow to something impossible. I know to non-devs. Just to keep it simple. It takes a whole team to stay simple. We have a lot of different disciplines in game dev. And a lot of artistic people. We have music, we have visual effects, we have 3D art, we have 2D art, we have all that fun stuff. But our end product, it's software. It's a binary. It's linked binaries that are running on hardware. So it feels like sometimes people lose that perception, and if the team doesn't work together, everybody doesn't work together at keeping the software simple, it will slow down the whole project. And once development is slowed down wide enough to brick it, you've bricked the whole project. Like, this is something that happens. The project becomes so complex that any change becomes impossible. And now it doesn't matter how good your art is. It doesn't matter how good any aspect of your game is. If you can't provide your product, which is software, then you can't publish anything. Very important, especially for people that are non-developers. Something I would like you to remember. You can use your brain sometimes, I'm fine with that. But please remember this part. There is a natural flow of software. Maybe I'm the first one calling it flow, but what I mean with that is your software has capabilities of what it can do, and extending it a bit is far easier than creating something new. What I mean with that is if you have, let's say, a figure with removable arms, removing that arm, reattaching a new arm is more easy than creating 4 arms on that figure. I just come up with that on the spot. It wasn't a good example. I think you know what I mean. It's one thing that I think a lot of devs sometimes wish is that understanding of if I could do it in a whole other way, but I'm asked to do it a specific way. And this is why communication is key. The best way to communicate in this regard is be clear about the result you want and trust the developers to know the complexity. Of course, you need a developer you can trust, but hopefully you have one. So that you start creating a culture where you can say, no, this might not be the best way to do it. Maybe a red button here isn't the best way. We could do, our API does blue buttons really nice. So keeping to what the natural flow of the code is makes sense. Conclusion, keep it simple or die trying. It's a choice you make every step of development, and be mindful of complexity traps, and don't forget, if you're using a brain, you're doing it wrong. Thank you.